Obviously, we can't lower the policy interest rate any lower. It's essentially as low as it can go. So the available monetary policy tools will fall into two categories: balance sheet related tools and communication tools, both of which we are using still at the moment. Balance sheet tools, there may be new ideas that get developed, but they essentially involve bond buying in one form or another. And that bond buying may be sterilized or not. And it has some effect on the term margin that is in interest rates, term risk. And the other effect is through essentially encouraging investment in other kinds of assets other than those that we buy, which are going to be treasury securities and mortgage-backed securities. So I think those options still are available. I don't believe the conditions call for them at the moment, but if we saw further deterioration, then I think they have to be on the table.
You talk about some of the factors we're seeing here in Paulding and Georgia, but as far as on a regional level, how does the Southeast sort of compare currently to the other regions, and what does the forecast sort of look like in the Southeast?
Interestingly, the Southeast over the last 30 to 40 years has diversified its economy and looks very much like the national economy. It's a pretty well diversified economy. So you would expect the Southeast to track what's going on nationally, and in fact it has been tracking the national improvements or the national recovery, but lagging it a little bit. So you have unemployment rates, for example, in southeastern states, not all, but some southeastern states, that are a little higher than the national average for unemployment. You have growth rates that have been maybe a little slower. If I could put my finger on one reason for that, and there are many reasons, but one reason is because of the over concentration in residential real estate that occurred in the Southeast for the very good reason that the Southeast is the Sun Belt, and you had a lot of migration over the last 20 years from north to south, and Sun Belt states were very deeply involved in home building and residential real estate development. That was a bigger blow in the Southeast than it was arguably in other parts of the country. But overall, we should expect that what happens in the country will be reflected in the Southeast.
Let's see. I just want to, Karen, I want to make sure anyone else question first.
Before I ask another, may I ask another one? But
well, you got two. We'll come to you right after that. Let's go to
that's
Karen
fine.
and then
That's
we'll go to
fine.
you.
That's fine.
Well, I wanted to piggyback off of this question about Greece and ask you how pivotal is the Greek election result to whether or not the Fed does that?
Well, I don't really even have a well-informed opinion on the connection between an election result and Fed policy. What I would say is that the Greek election result will produce a new government. That government will then take a position on Greece's relationship to the EU and enter into some dialogue and negotiations over what happens in the future related to their obligations. That's part of the larger picture in Europe. And what I referenced in my earlier remarks was really a much more general concern about developments in Europe. They are connected to Greece, but not exclusively connected to Greece. Those developments in Europe also are related to other countries. So I wouldn't make a direct line connection between Greek elections and Fed monetary policy. I don't have much encouraging to say in the near term.
Okay.
First, I think as you step back and look at this, we had a bubble.
Mhm.
Bubble produced high home prices. Some people, including myself, bought during that bubble. The markets do not guarantee that we're going to be made whole. They simply don't. I think what we are looking for is, and I think, make some reference to the inventory overhang.
Mhm.
We're looking for conditions in which that inventory has been absorbed, including shadow inventory, which in any community includes houses that are really not on the market, but would be on the market in better circumstances. Absorbing that shadow inventory to the level where demand and supply puts upward pressure on prices. I think that will take some time. I think the inventory levels, I wouldn't put a number on it, but it's going to take some time. Is that a guarantee that someone who bought at the top of the bubble period is going to get back to even? No guarantee at all.
Any more questions? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.